Hi, and thanks everyone for coming today. My name's Stu Seckler. I live on Vero, and I'm in charge of the Pond Watch and a member of also the Lakes Committee. Today we have Dr. Ernesto Lasso de La Vega from the Lee County Ice and Control District here to talk to us about our lakes, and I'll let him take the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you can all hear me well because I'm going to use the microphone. And I have a series of presentation, a series of pictures. Um, Let me see if I can go as fast as possible because I want to get right to the essentials. Yeah, let me start with, but most of you already know how they build the whole lakes. I mean, these ponds that they call lakes, they're actually ponds, stormwater ponds, and they dig them out, and they just build it. And the reason of that is to hold water because otherwise it will flood somebody else and down the road. So it's a holding facility that takes and also take the nutrients out of the homes and it will go into the lakes or ponds and then they will filter it so the outcome will be less nutrient loaded. Now here's your ponds, okay, right into that. So all the 26 ponds have been here labeled and we have been done previous. I think this is going to run out of energy because I hear a little bit of feedback. Anyway, so the ponds have been sampled many years. Since 2023, we have all the samples, and these are all the analysis that I do. Let's concentrate. Well, first, let me tell you that the color red or the pink color here means that it's out of reach. What means out of reach? This number here, this analysis here, total phosphorus and orthophosphorus, phosphorus in general. I'll tell you later if you're interested in what is the difference between those two phosphorus. But the total phosphorus, if it's going above zero point 0.1 milligrams per liter. Oh, fantastic. Yes, because we can see the color better. Oh, absolutely better. Yes. So this pink means that it has been above this number zero point 0.1, which is not the end of the world, but you can tell us that being above that, that will have some problems with the production or the stimulation of algae and some other undesirable plants. So here the chlorophyll, which is another indicator of algae, is showing pretty low, which is good in general. You don't have a high numbers. By the way, the one down here, the 27, that is water from the reclaimed water, which is used for irrigation. So they take the sample from from the pipe, straight from the pipe, and I do that analysis, and you can see the numbers are all pink because the water is coming from the wastewater treatment plant extremely high. Who versus zero point 0.1 that should be the highest. This is 2, 1.9, 0.8. I mean, absurd. But that's the water that you guys getting from the wastewater treatment plant for irrigation, which is not the best water at all. Okay, move on. And if you have any questions, let's move to that. So the line that I have here, the red line, is the 0.1 that I mentioned before. Is most ponds in Southwest Florida, if they go above, most of them are in the range below between zero point 0.1 and 0. That's the normal range of total phosphorus of most of the stormwater ponds in Southwest Florida. So they're between this range. And you have some ponds that are right there. That's good. But you have many who are out of out of above that 0.1. And that's what this is actually telling us that, okay, these ponds have some source of phosphorus that needs to be found out why in order to alleviate the problems later. Okay, that's phosphorus. This is total nitrogen, same story. They have a line here, which is above 2. It will be out of reach, out of the normal range of stormwater ponds. The 0.1 is for phosphorus, 2 is for nitrogen. You don't have any except for that guy, the 27, which is from the wastewater treatment plant. Look at that, it goes 7.7. Again, needless to say. But so nitrogen is not a problem. It's pretty much on the range. Phosphorus is the problem in most of these cases. Chlorophyll is a pigment in the algae. So when we take the water sample, we filter to the piece of paper, actually as a filter. We dissolve and determine the chlorophyll, which is the pigment in the algae. So the more chlorophyll you have, the more algae. So this is an indication of algae. These two ponds, big in algae. So there's a lot of algae in this. By the way, this sample, it was all the ponds that you have, but this is a little old. This is with the last time that we did it. Okay, one thing that I want to bring in, and there's a little bit of, but it's not so hard to understand. You have algae when you have a ratio of nitrogen and phosphorus 10 to 1. In other words, the nitrogen has to be 10 and then 1 has to be on the phosphorus. When you have that combination, you have an algae bloom. So now 10 to 1 is just a ratio. If the ratio is very low, like 5 to 1, no algae, because 10 to 1 is not. This is less than 10, 5 to 1. So no algae within. And it's also when you got too much nitrogen, like 20 to 1, that is not 10 to 1, therefore no algae. So it is kind of like, okay, you have to have that ratio in order for the algae to grow. If these numbers also are very low, like very small amount, 10 to 1, but still everything is very small, then you won't have algae because there's not enough nutrients present. But again, the ratio 10 to 1 has to be respected for algae to grow. Having known that, okay, now that I think you see this 10 to 1, let me show you our massive data that we had before. Here on this, they are all mixing here. They have phosphorus, they have nitrogen, and the chlorophyll A, which is a pigment to tell us about algae. So this number here and this one here, if you look down here, the purple is the nitrogen, and the red one here is the phosphorus, 10 to 1. You see that? And that's the reason why, boom, this building came out here. Down here, the same story, but it even is a little more less concentrated, but the 10 to 1 is there respected. Boom, you have an algae bloom. You understand? So the other ones, you might not have that ratio. Maybe this ratio is not enough or is limited by one of those nutrients. Like you have plenty of phosphorus, but there's no nitrogen. Plenty of phosphorus, but there's no nitrogen. So that's how this governed. Now, this is not like, oh, we'll just have a lot of phosphorus. No, because if you have a little bit of nitrogen that comes maybe from a fertilizer or maybe from something else, that then you have an algae bloom if the 10 to 1 is being respected. So far, so good, or I confuse you all? Yes, you have a question.
Could you control algae by adding nitrogen into a lake
Some people
to
have
push that ratio above?
Correct. Some people have suggested that. I go against that because I don't want to add something that later you have a source of phosphorus and boom, you have an algae. But why? Because you already put enough nitrogen, so you were limited by phosphorus. And where that phosphorus came? From a septic tank, maybe from a bird poop, dog poop. All those are sources of phosphorus. Bird droppings, the dog fecal, if you don't pick up after the dog. Even in the muck, there might be in the muck that has been accumulating for years and years, you might have some phosphorus there and nitrogen that might be sitting there waiting for that right moment with the wind, mixing it all up, and then boom, you have an algae bloom. It's like, oh, why do we have an algae bloom? Because you made it 10 to 1. Okay, so the next one, I want to, oh yeah, presenting this 10 to 1, and this is what you were saying about low nitrogen, high phosphorus. I hope that's not a. Oh, okay. So no algae is present under this condition, and this is why what happened a lot here. We have very little nitrogen, like I saw on the previous slides with all this analysis, but we have plenty of phosphorus. So again, watch out for that nitrogen. Now, what are the sources of nitrogen? The muck might produce nitrogen in the form of ammonia. Ammonia is anaerobic decomposition from bacteria, and all that muck has been accumulated there. Again, it needs a little wind, and then you have it. Fertilizers. Oh, fertilizers is nitrogen as well. And then you might have some other things like, well, those are the most, yeah, typical. Here is the same ratio. Okay, this is the whole scenario. And just to show you that pink is showing excessive amount of phosphorus, again, they're above the line. then there's some of them are not respecting the 10-to-1. Oh, I did the calculation of the ratios. Here's the 10-to-1, 9, well, close to 10, I guess. And this is 14, again, close to 10. Question?
Ernesto, have any communities stop fertilizing their lawns and feel they get enough nitrogen from the reclaimed water?
Yes.
I wonder if we would ever want to consider that in order to protect our lake.
Yes, the answer is yes. I have communities. I mean, there's several other communities who are experiencing the same thing, and they put a ban. They put a moratorium, no reclaimed water. They don't want, and the other ones, they're not using any fertilizer whatsoever throughout the whole year.
Stop the reclaimed water. We can stop the
Fertilizer, correct. And the fertilizer has, well, two things. Fertilizer has an issue there where they have a moratorium of no fertilizer between June to September 30th. No fertilizer is allowed according to the code, the ordinance, the Lee County ordinance for fertilizer. But then outside of that, like October comes in, oh, and then the company wants to spread it all there. Because they were starving. The plants were starving. You had to put it all in October. And then once you put it, there still rains in October. Even we have hurricanes. So he comes and he washes all up. Boom, we have an algae bloom. So what do we have algae? Well, that nitrogen that came right there. Fertilizers do not have phosphorus in the um, the fertilizer that they sell to us. They don't have phosphorus in there. They have nitrogen, nitrates, and nitrogen and nitrates. Yes.
Covered is like true green, plain that they're not true.
No. It's okay. In fact, let me
Covered is like true green, plain they are doing no damage, are they? Just like
say one more time. Go ahead.
companies like True Green, claim that their applications do no harm. I'm curious as to who they do harm.
Well, they are following the rules and they are following the same ordinance and they are applying the stuff. And I'm not saying they purposely want to damage, but they had to do a business. So, and then they're allowed to do that. I'm not trying to say just fire them. No, I mean, treat them, but then you have to be conscious about what is happening so you can hide a little bit their practices. And I'm telling the homeowners, you gotta tell because you're the employer. You're the person who hired them, and whoever is the manager of the landscapers, hey, do this for the benefit of the community, not for your own benefit. You were saying something.
Ernesto collected data through the years that shows spikes on either end of the fertilizer moratorium, where they preload in May and they postload in October and November, and we can see those spikes occurring.
In fact, I'm glad you bring that up because this fellow here and the team, they want to do this massive sampling. Okay, we did it in 2022, 22, 23, 24, we missed that. 25 is right now. And we can do that. And they're planning to do that. They plan to sample in 2025 in the blackout season. And then outside of the blackout, all of them, just to see exactly this. They came up. This was actually January, so it was a little different. It's not respecting the blackout thing, but we can do that before and after and find out, okay, where is the problematic pond that has this nitrogen phosphorus ratio of 10, and boom, there you have it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of effort. I mean, this is not easy to collect all that in one time, and then you have to do it again in the next following month. Ooh, sorry about that. I disconnected the. I'll put it back. Get that two separate. And then turn it on. Testing. Still in?
Yep.
Oh, good. Put it in your pocket, Ernesto. Don't swing your hand too much. Oh, so one more thing. Not to confuse you with, but all this red means that it's really out of control. It's really up the roof. And this particular pond, number 8 and 9 on 2025, these are chlorophylls. Way off. way booming. And then they did it in 24 and they did it again on 25. So we'll be monitoring. Is that the right nitrogen phosphorus ratio? Yeah, right there. Okay, for this year, this is well, 0.9, 1.9, 1.9. And here is the phosphorus, 0.1. You see, it's almost, yeah, 10 to 1, they might be there, 10 to, yeah, so you have some matching there. Down here, we're sampling this pond 24, and what happened to be high, but it wasn't like that before. So I don't know what happened there. Somebody had done something in that pond. I know. We're gonna find out. But again, some of the ponds, number one has been actually improved. Whoever was last time that say, I'm living near number one. Okay, well, now has improved tremendously. Is a very good pond and has been done for 2 years. So this is kind of like the data. Again, when you do the sampling and you bring the samples, we run the test. My goodness, that tells us a lot. But the next thing we're going to do is the massive analysis before and after, in the blackout and outside of the blackout. That's good information. Recommendations. Start monitoring the worst ponds to find the main source of problems, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, nutrients. Keep an eye for harmful algae blooms, which are blue-greens. And blue-greens are those are toxic releasing aerosols that you can smell. Well, smelling is not the poison, but if you smell like dirt in the air, it's an indication. That's called geosmin that's being produced by the algae, the microcystis, and that's an indicator. The smell geosmin is not toxic, but something else that carries in the air as an aerosol might be toxic. And I'm talking respiratory issues that have me concerned. So be aware that's an indicator that geosmin, the dirt smelling algae. And it's blue-green algae. It's very easy to find. I mean, you just take a jar and then the thing floats on the top and it's blue-green, look like paint. Consider limiting irrigation with reclaimed waste water. Wow, because that's a bomb, that's a poison, especially in the rainy. If rain is anticipated, why? Because okay, you put a fertilizer or whatever you did, and then they're okay. The rain, you irrigate the water, then the rain has been keeping the soil moist. So the soil is moist, full of water. You put the irrigator water, it's gonna go right on top of that rain water that's already been absorbed in the soil. You see, the soil's already wet. Now you come with it sprinkling with that reclaimed water right into the pond. So yes, well, don't be limited. And also watch out for the rains. Consider planting littorals. Oh, by the way, that's beautiful. I've seen a lot of good ponds as I was coming up here from the south. Beautiful littorals because they protect the shoreline. Number one, erosion is very expensive to fix. Oh my God. We talk hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even $500,000 just to fix one pond. And then they remove nutrients, yes, from the lawn runoff and enhance wildlife. And I tell you, with wildlife, you gotta respect wildlife. You know those mosquitoes and museums, the midgets, mosquito fish live in those littorals. They will control that, or they will keep it down. So it's beneficial. I mean, to have bugs there to prey upon those ones that we don't want. Watch out for the landscaping, debris, and fertilizer activities. Yeah, you just have to know what the landscaper is doing. And once you know what they're doing, okay, well, we're limited or be careful with that. Um, oh, and by the way, I want to give a big kudos to this fellow. He made a video, and I'm using this video all over my pond watcher because this fish, Apliclostomus, is from South America. Burrows in the shoreline, and he makes these caverns, and he just jeopardized the whole bank. And talking erosion expenses, this guy is bad boy. And then also tilapia, you see the holes, and then those holes are made up in tilapia, who also is detrimental for the erosion. So he goes with this trident. Well, it's trident. It's about like 5 dents. So he top grabs the fish, euthanize them, which, by the way, thank you, because in my heart, any animal, yeah, quick suffering, quick the suffering, and he euthanized them. And I mean, it looks bad, but he euthanized them right away. Tilapia has been removed in many of these ponds. The derby, oh my God, it's a great idea. Great idea. You guys, yeah, should thank him for doing that. Um, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have one more thing to show, and then I would like to present to you on a. I have an intern who work on a survey for ponds, and you have so many ponds here that it could be used. This survey can be used to to categorize and then to record the conditions of the pond right now, and then you can do it. Check out next year, and then you can also I can get access to that so I can see visual how it is and what is the condition. So because I don't have the eyes to see this. So let me roll this video. This video was made by one of my interns. To complete our pond water survey. Your input along with water samples helps us assess the health of your stormwater ponds. Look for this survey. Start by entering your name, pond ID, and the date and time of your observation. This helps us track data over time. Next, enter your pond's location. To get accurate latitude and longitude coordinates, open the Compass app on your phone and copy the numbers you see. Then paste them with the survey. Now observe the water. You'll record the water level, color, and any visible algae. Identifying these factors helps us monitor overall pond health. Yeah, that's blue-green algae. Oh, there. Does your pond have aeration, like fountains or bubblers? Aeration plays a key role in oxygen levels and water quality. Check the littoral zone, the shallow area along the pond's edge. Are there aquatic plants present? These plants help filter water and support wildlife. Finally, assess the erosion level. Are the pond banks stable or is soil washing away? Monitoring erosion helps prevent long-term damage. And that's it. If you monitor multiple ponds, please complete a survey for each one. Thank you for your time and dedication to keeping our stormwater on. So that tool is available, and it's not here because this is just the video to show what the tool is about. But I have a presentation here which has in it the same video presentation, but it has the code to log in and you can get the same survey that she was showing. And the survey will come out there and then you can follow that survey and it's all going to be stored in a website in a Google Earth Drive. Google Earth Drive? No, Google Drive. In fact, let me show you. I have the video for that. And let me show you quickly. I can add lib to that. First, let me put it in this mode and then we can see the video and rolling video. Yes. So here, this is what I got from the different volunteers have been adding there. I eliminated everybody so you can see my input. I'm Ernesto, I have the pond, and this is what I did the same survey and I added, this is the picture I got from the location. So that's what I want to see. I want to see, okay, what plant, what algae, what kind of stuff. So here's the information I get when you do fill this form. And then again, another one. And you also tell me the location of those pictures. If you have a picture location, you can put a locator. And then it's another plant that I have there. And then this is one for erosion. Ooh, that is crucial. And I think this is the one that you need to pay attention because you can see that where is a problem and then report it to the board or report it to somebody. And that's the location of the place. And that's the end of that. So these tools are again has been provided by the Yeah, and this is how to make a survey. We also allow, if somebody wants to do it on their own. And this was sponsored by the Coastal and Heartland National History Program. They provided the funding for her to put and all this together. So it's actually, and we want to thank Conrad Schultz from the community Spanish Wells who started this. We just we develop our own. The Coastal Heartland for providing the fundings, and of course, the rest of the stories there. So, back to that.
What website can you get that?
Can you send that presentation to the Lakes Committee here?
Yep, absolutely. So they can see it and understand what is the meaning of that is so we can, I have the eyes because you're providing me the photos and the location. And then you can also have that as a record. Like the pond looks bad in this way. Have you done anything? Oh, it looks worse the next year. Oh, it keep going bad. So you have the evidence there in pictures. Um, Another project that came up out of a conversation is that we can use the property appraiser website and then see the pictures that have been taken every year and see how many littorals are there. And I think it's a good exercise because then you'll see all the littorals are pretty bad here, or we fix that and now every year is getting better. Um, we have data related to the littorals. I'll tell you some of the, it's very good relationship between littorals and water quality. Oh, and now questions. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Yes. Does the algae kill littorals? No. How's the other way around? The littorals is not killing the algae, but the littorals have some filamentous and some they call it periphyton, is algae that grows on the stems of the littorals. And that stem, that filamentous algae, which is in the littorals, take the nutrients away from the algae to occur. So it's like a competition, but the littorals provide the substrate for the algae that is filamentous. And by the way, if we don't have the littorals, then you see the scum. Well, I don't know how it goes, but it's a filamentous algae all the way around because it's going to be there no matter what. It's always going to be some filamented. But then when you put the littorals, they are between the littorals. You don't see that scum, but the scum is the one who removes the nutrients. Yeah. And the fish and the birds eat that scum and everything. Yes, sir.
Turn the light back on.
Oh, okay. Sure. Any other questions? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I play golf at numerous golf courses, and all these lakes, they have no littorals.
Right. Oh, well,
How do they?
well, depends on the golf course. Sometimes the golf course has littorals, but the littorals that they put is specifically spike rush is one plant that is a standing little, so it's easy to remove the balls, the golf balls.
You go over here to Cape Royal,
Oh,
there's no littoral.
well, when they do that, sometimes they enforce the companies who do the maintenance to come every week and spray, 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 and they just nuke it every week. And as soon as they see it, nuke it. Yeah, I know. It sounds like, okay, well, they can be done. Yes, there's chemicals that can be killed every single week. And then as soon as you see it, you spray it. There are chemicals. In fact, the one I want to warn you about is copper sulfate, which is a cheap herbicide. It's legal to use it, and they can be an algicide for that scum. They can be used. Don't get me wrong. They can be used because it's legal. However, when you use copper sulfate, that goes into the mud, and the plants who we put for littorals don't like that because the roots of the plants, I'm talking the grassy plants, they need bacteria and in the soil, and the bacteria will die because of the copper sulfate. So when you kill the bacteria, the plants don't have bacteria, the plants will die, and you will have a hard time putting littorals. And I tell you that to these companies who do that copper sulfate, I tell them over and over, you sterilizing every time you use copper sulfate, you're cheap. I'm sorry, cheap copper sulfate. And why are they using that cheap copper? I'm sorry, getting a little excited here. Why are they using that cheap copper sulfate? Because it's legal, but it's also cheap, so they can make more profit. You see that? I get upset about it because you're just making profit and you don't care what the future of that pond. You use something more environmentally friendly for the littoral plants. Like what? There are plenty chemicals now that has been developed. One is based on hydrogen peroxide. It's called hydroclean or green clean. Hydrogen peroxide also kills the scum, the filamentous algae. They kill it, but it's not leave the copper in the soil. Now it's a little more expensive, and they say, "Oh, well, you want to use that one?" And then, of course, limit their profit because they cannot jack the pricing that you're paying for service. Oh, because you're going to drop them. As soon as they increase the price, no, you're going to drop them. Go to the next company who is also going to use copper sulfate because they still don't have to make a profit. So tell them no copper sulfate, or if you're going to use it, gosh, don't. Maybe chelated copper, which is another formulation. Or just ask him. But yeah, there are some other alternative for that scum. Any other question? Oh God, I will get excited here.
The chelated copper sulfate is better to use than just straight up.
Correct. The crystals of copper sulfate, which are allowed to use, there are they visually pretty much they spray it and it forms this whitish clay and it goes into the muck. And you'll see the shoreline turning sometimes bluish because once they dry, the copper sulfate goes back into crystals that are blue. Now, the chelated copper sulfate has been treated with some molecules that it remains longer as a chelated, as a copper ion. And that's still better, but it's still copper. Yeah. And then the last one is hydrogen peroxide. So when you talk to those three, I don't know, you got to invest on the best for the future, not for just a quickie. Because, yeah, I got some very strong words with those because what I argue with them is that you're just treating it for 2 weeks later, it comes back and you treat it again. And then 2 weeks later, and so you're having a cow that is always going to be milking and you're milking the cow and it's like until she dries out and then the cow is dead. I don't know. So I'm actually telling you this because that's the other side of the story that they don't tell you. I can tell you. Any other question? My goodness, I went wild crazy here. Oh, and you're recording all this. Okay. I'm old enough, I can handle it.
You're retiring soon.
I'm retiring soon. Yes.
So we should improve the health of these lakes that have such an biology boom by improving the soil zone. Okay, then what can we do to improve that, make our lakes healthier?
You are, so what can you do to improve the health of the ponds with the littoral? Yes, that's what you're actually doing. Many of the ponds already have good littorals. I was just coming here, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Now, some of the areas may not have them, and those are the ones who might have to be added to it. And I tell you, you're saving a lot of money by having those littorals because the one expensive that is the erosion. That's it. More than water quality is erosion. And you want to really protect your wallet for erosion. Again, having those plants, you know how the wind blows into one direction all the time and it just eat it up. It will continue eating it for the rest of it if you don't have that barrier, which is the plants that stop the wake. It's called wake? Yeah, the fetch. Fetch? I don't get it. No, it's the wake of the wave that eats up the rocks and the sand. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
uh, the materials that are already established. Can you take from them, you put them,
Yes. Can you train or recruit from the littorals there? Yes, you can. You don't have to go and buy another set of. You can take those on the outside and then replant it in other places. Yes, and they will not mind. But every time you plant it, careful with the companies. I don't know the company who sell the littorals. They want to put it like every foot apart. No, clusters. They like nature like clusters. So you put them in a cluster and then the cluster will expand and it will expand. And that's how it should be. So yes, you can recruit some from the already set, and then the ones that you recruit, they're going to come back and replenish there. So you have your own bag here.
So if we've already had some establishment, but they put some in our lakes last year, can we just take from them and put them around the other side?
Yes. And there's no limitation. There's no rules or ordinance about that. In fact, it's encouraged to do that. Again, oh, and also another thing, pick the plants that has flowers because they look pretty. And everybody's like, yeah, oh, how pretty. Yeah. Some of them produce year-round flowers. Some of them are just like a seasonal. But take the ones who have flowers. Now, where to go for? Yeah, the spike rush, which is in the golf courses sometimes, they don't have beautiful, but they have a beautiful and very nice, stable shoreline. And they're very easy to propagate. You just plant a few, they take off. So again, that is definitely yes. Oh, you have
Just to touch on what she just said about replanting, if you look at the lake that's by the tennis courts here, where we did that, sea breeze came in and put fixed the erosion and everything. They actually replanted the littorals that were close to the shore that they would have went over if they didn't move them. So they moved them farther out into the lake, the littorals that were close to the shore when they redid that whole shoreline.
What do you mean? Right around
They replanted them
into the lake or around?
into the lake
Into the lake?
beyond what they repaired. They made
I
that
thought they had to be on the shoreline.
no.
Oh, you have a question.
I think I'm making an appeal. I think anybody here that's truly interested, and I know we all are. We need more people on the Lakes Committee. Please volunteer your time to join because we've had some people leave, and this is not only very important, it's also very expensive to maintain these things properly. So if we get ahead of it, we'll save ourselves a lot of money.
In the what?
What?
And on what?
Oh, yeah, delivering the samples to because we're in the other side of the world, like at the end of the world, like Lehigh Acres. It's like anyway. So, but then it takes at least an hour to get over there. Sometimes traffic, right? But that once a month, and we accept those samples. And I'll tell you what, I am so happy to work with you, this community, because I'm not only learning but I also think we are improving for the future because I mean I'm using these examples for other communities to learn about the same thing that we're actually learning. So you are actually tutoring other people. I just take the data and information and show it to some other people. Oh, look what they're doing. Oh, we can do the same. No, it's amazing. And again, my heart goes to you and we'll continue. As long as you're sampling the water, we'll continue doing it. And it's not costing you any money. Well, it does. The tax is a tiny little fraction that says hyacinth control. And I think mosquito and hyacinth control, we're smaller. But yeah, but that's what we are actually doing for you all. I'm very happy to do that too. Any other question? Wow, 30 minutes out. 21. Okay, yes, sir.
I just want to let people know that not only do we have the Lakes Committee where we desperately need additional residents to be part of that, but every month, the second Monday of every month, we collect samples from 6 lakes and the irrigation water. It takes about an hour, hour and a half, something like that out of your week or your month to do it, but we really could use additional help. And if you're not really inclined to go out and do the sampling, we could at least use drivers who will take those samples that we've collected and drive them over to Ernesto. And it's about an hour drive out and back, maybe hour and a half or hour and 45 minutes to get out to Buckingham and back. It's a lovely drive. You get to go by the, landfill and all kinds of things. So he was right. They did his office very well. But we really could use help.
Yeah, it's so true. In fact, along with you, I have 150 volunteers around the county, Lee County, and they're bringing, well, actively we have 50. So they're bringing a bunch of samples, but all the second Monday of the month. And that saved me the time to run those analysis. And again, we run the analysis, the water quality there. Yeah, that's and I tell you what, we're learning so much. And this whole thing is just a learning experience for all of us. One thing I want to say, um, the reclaimed water, that's one thing that I don't know how we're going to address that. But then if you have any input for the government of Cape Coral, start mentioning about that because the reclaimed water plant or the wastewater treatment plant should be upgraded to an advanced. There are all the water treatment plants in the county. In fact, Lee County has one that is dumping right into the river, and they are upgraded to advanced, and that is water is super clean, nice clean. They can do that here, but they opt not to because I guess they're waiting for the next generation and the next generation. I was like, when are you going to do it? I've been crying that for 15 years. Yeah, money. And I'm being upset. Ugh, I'm down on it. But coral canals are having that trouble because everybody's using, what do you call it? Yeah, overusing the waste water, the reclaimed water, and that's the doomsday scenario that I see. That anyway, but by fixing that, they will fix a lot of problems that we were going to be encountering. All right, not enough. Oh, you guys have enough. No more questions? All right. It's been a pleasure being here with you, and I'm very happy to serve you guys. Oh, thank you.